cups of masa, my second brand if available. 3 cups of broth, beef, chicken, or vegetable broth should be okay. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 1/3 cups of lard. You're also going to need about 8 ounces of packaged dry corn husks. There's a myriad of fillings that you can go with. There's red chili pork, salsa verde chicken, bean and cheese. Of course, you're going to need some authentic Mexican rice. How I grew up eating Mexican rice was actually, instead of ketchup, you use enchilada sauce. I highly recommend that you try that. So today we're going to start off with soaking the corn husks in a bowl of very hot water for about 30 minutes, or until it's like a bit softened. And then you're going to prepare whatever desired fillings of your choice. We don't get nitpicky here. It's whatever you desire, whatever you crave, or whatever you need. To make the tamale dough, you're going to have to get a large bowl. I prefer using an electric mixer to beat the lard, and 2 tablespoons of broth until fluffy, about 3 to 5 minutes. Combine the masa flour, baking powder, and salt and cumin in a separate bowl. Stir into the lard mixture and beat well with an electric mixer. If you don't have an electric mixer, then you're about to get really buff. And if you make this very common, I recommend using, switching off with your hands so one hand's not bigger than the other. After that is done, add the broth little by little to form a very soft dough. Beat it on high speed for several minutes, or about if you're just using your hand. The dough should spread like creamy peanut butter and be slightly sticky. Then you're going to cover the mixing bowl with a damp paper towel to keep the dough from drying out. If you ever made bread before, it's kind of the same theory, I suppose. Okay, and once that's done, we're going to be assembling the tamales. So you're going to lay the corn husk glossy side up on the counter with the wide end at the top. Scoop about 1/4 of the dough to the top corner of the husk. Lay a piece of plastic wrap over the dough and use your hands to spread the masa into like a thin layer, about 1/4 of an inch thick. Some people might have used spoons growing up, but that's very ineffective. If you ever laid cement while building like a wall, I recommend using something like that, and just scooping it and then spreading it all the way down in one smooth motion. It takes a bit of practice, but you'll get the hang of it. Yeah, and make sure to leave the top half of the corn husk free, to allow plenty of room to fold the bottom of the husk up when it's time. And then I want you to place about 1 to 2 tablespoons of whatever filling you desire in a line down the center of the dough. Trust me, you don't want too much. The masa speaks for itself. Fuck. Okay. Fold in one long side of the husk over the filling. Fold in the other long side, overlapping the first, like you're folding like a brochure. And then fold the bottom of the husk up. And then, you could tie it if you want to, but it's not necessary. But, get into the habit of it, because it'll save you more often than not in the beginning. You don't really have to tie the corn husk string around the tamale. It takes more time, but like I said, if you're just starting out, practice your knots. And yeah, rope is fun, useful. And then we're getting close to the final steps here. You're gonna cook on the stove top or an instant pot. Add water to the bottom of your steamer or instant pot. About 1 cup for a few cups for a steamer pot. Don't fill above the steamer rack. Lay a few extra corn husks on the bottom rack to keep the tamales from falling through. You'll probably have plenty, honestly, if you're not making it for yourself or just for your loved ones. But yeah, I always have extra laying around, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And what was I saying? Oh yeah. Place the tamales standing upright with their open end up, just tightly enough to keep them standing. And if you're using a steamer pot, lay a few soaked corn husks or a wet towel over the top of the tamales before closing the lid. Then for a steamer, you're gonna bring water to a boil. Back home, we would place a coin at the bottom of the steamer, and when the coin started tapping the pot, you would know that the water was boiling. But you can pretty much tell when water's boiling. It's not that hard. Yeah, and then once boiling, reduce to a simmer and steam for about 45 minutes to about an hour or longer. I like it longer. And just check them after about 45 minutes. If you have an instant pot, which I prefer, cook on manual high pressure for about 25 minutes. That's about the sweet spot for me. Allow pressure to naturally release for 10 minutes and then quick release. To test if the tamales are done, remove one and try to pull the husk off. If the husk pulls away cleanly from the tamale, they're done. If the dough is still sticky or wet looking, cook them for about another 5 to 10 minutes longer, and then try again. You could always store leftover tamales in the refrigerator for about 5 to 7 days, and they'll still be very fresh. If you don't want to do that, then head to Sam's Club and buy a big bottle of Tapatio, and they should sell tamales year-round. Just some notes for tamale filling suggestions. You could probably find salsa verde chicken around somewhere, or a bean and cheese can, but I prefer red chili pork. You know what? Next time we'll do a red chili pork recipe, 'cause it just hits. It just hits.